So a lot of people want to know what happens or what do they do if they miss their court date when you have a court date that you've missed. And in this video, I'm going to talk about what happens like in real life, like the practical aspect of if you miss a court date and how you get your warrants quashed and things like that. My name is Derron Woodfork, and I'm an attorney here in Scottsdale, Arizona. At my firm, I seal old criminal cases here, and I also restore people's gun rights here. And I also do personal injury work, like car accidents, things like that. But back in the day, I was a public defender. I did a ton of criminal defense work. And the way that you would get people, people would call you up all the time and say, "Oh, I missed my court date. What should I do?" And so that's what this video is about. And here are kind of my notes. And a lot of people want to know, like I said, first of all, they want to know if they're going to get arrested when they go in to get their warrant quashed. Most of the time they're not. Most of the time you're not going to get arrested. You're not going to be taken into custody right then. You're just going to get a new court date and that's it. Depending on, I guess, if it's a serious case, like it's a class one, class two case, something like that, a murder case or something crazy, and you bonded out or you missed court, something like that, then they might take you in if it's a super serious case. But if it's just your regular like DUI case or a speeding case or even drugs, whatever, most of the time, if there's a warrant out, they'll bring you in and give you another court date without taking you into custody. And again, and I mentioned the bench ward. The bench ward is essentially if you don't show up for court for your court date, the judge will basically say, ask in open court if you're there. If you're not there, the judge just say, well, I'm putting out a warrant here from the bench, and that's what a bench warrant is. It's a notification that goes out to all the police essentially that if you're ever picked up, there's a warrant out for your arrest, and they'll bring you back for for the hearing. So that's what a bench warrant is. Now, most of the people will find out or they'll understand that they have a warrant out for their arrest on their own, I should say. And the best thing to do is to address it, immediately. And the reason why, and I put that here in my bullet points in my notes for this video, is that the reason why you should do it quickly is because it makes my job easier, makes your lawyer's job easier in the sense that, we walk into court, in the hearing to quash that warrant, and we say, Judge, my client, the minute they found out about this, they're here now to address it. And it shows that you've taken responsibility, you're taking the initiative, and you jumped on it really quick. And so it's an easier argument for us. As opposed to, like I said, if there's been a warrant out for, 2 years, whatever, a year, and you walk into court and you basically say that you knew about it, but you didn't have time to come into court to get the warrant quashed, something like that. Then that's going to be a problem. Like I said, most of the time the judge will set a new court date. Basically the judge. What's what I'm doing here? Yeah, so the judge will basically set a new court date. It might be they'll just set it for your arraignment, or they'll send what's called a pretrial conference. And the system will just kind of start where it left off for the bench warrant. So that's basically what happens. And again, in my notes, it's you take it seriously though. Like I said before, when you show up for your to quash your warrant, understand it's a serious process, and the judge, like they're not going to take you into custody, but they're not going to be happy either. So you want to take it seriously. You want to give a good reason why you missed your court date, and then most of the time the judge will buy it and give you another court date. And so that's essentially the warrant process. If you have a lawyer, the best thing to do is like if you know that you have a case out there and there's a warrant out there, the best thing to do is call your lawyer, and your lawyer can file a motion to get a hearing, and then you go down there with your lawyer, and then they get the warrant quashed. Also, again, for small cases like in misdemeanor court, like city court, like Scottsdale City Court, Phoenix City Court, things like that. A lot of times they have like one day that is designated for like walk-in warrant quashing day, essentially. I know in Scottsdale City Court, I think it's Fridays. where you could just walk in and basically say you have a warrant out there, you need to get it quashed, and the judge will do it, and you won't be taken into custody. So that's how you deal with a bench warrant here in Arizona. Again, my name is Derron Woodfork. I'm an attorney here in Scottsdale, and I can help you. I can answer any questions that you have. Please shoot them in the comments or email me at Derron W. That's DERRONW at MSN.com. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Thanks.